a scene in the first half of Jaws that always stands out for me whenever I watch it. You might know the one I'm talking about. I'll find him for 3. I'll catch him and kill him for 10. No, that's not it. That is a good scene. The head, the tail, the whole damn thing. That's an awesome monologue granted by the late, great Robert Shaw, whose work on that film, along with Roy Scheider and Richard Dreyfuss, is legendary by now. But no, there's another scene. More subtle. It's a blink and you miss it type of moment. The spot in the film where I used to get up and go to the kitchen whenever it was on cable. But now, whenever I watch it, it's the scene that carries a bit more weight, especially now that I'm a parent. Parenthood is actually pretty interesting in Steven Spielberg movies, but this one little scene seems unique in Spielberg, to me. It's a touching moment between Chief Brody, Roy Scheider, and his son. Brody is troubled, wondering what to do with the shark terrorizing Amity, and a town council that won't admit that they have a big problem. And then this happens. In his soul searching, he notices his child is looking at him, mimicking him. He's going to grow up based in part on what kind of a person Brody is, what he's modeling. And that means on what kind of human being he decides to be moment to moment, in this moment. What things does he prioritize? Going along to get along, or doing what he thinks is right? What does he stand up for? What does he stand for at all? All the politics and all the arguments and mental gymnastics melt away in this one brief moment. And we see a simple truth, like a child sees it. What kind of human being is he going to be right now, with his child watching so closely?
Give us a kiss.
Why?
Because I need it.
I think it's in this one small, honest moment that the character of Chief Brody decides to bite the bullet and pushes us into the second half of the film. There's a boy, no older than his own sons, who's disappeared, and there's a shark down at the docks that the locals have caught, and they're using it to placate the community into thinking that their troubles are over. It's all smoke and mirrors by the local political machine. And Richard Dreyfuss is there telling him, no, that's not how this works. That's not the science of this situation. The science says the trouble is still here. So he decides to go down there with the Dreyfuss character, Matt Hooper from the Oceanographic Institute, and confirm his fears. And then to do the right thing, even though it's going to raise hell in his community, even though it might get him fired, even though it's going to lead him on a quest in the second half of the film where he might even lose his life. His child is watching him. Our children are watching. My child is watching me. What are we going to do? Now, the child in the film isn't really cognizant of what's going on with the shark and the town and the mayor and the politics. That's not the point. He doesn't know the full import of his dad's decision just then and there. But he's watching his dad. He's watching him worried. He's watching him mull over something. He's watching him make a difficult decision. He's watching him be purposeful in his actions. And those sorts of things, I think, come through with our kids, even if they don't understand the world around them just yet. So that scene always makes me think about that. It makes me think about when I've done the dishes twice and I realize going into the living room that I'm going to have to do the dishes again. It makes me think about what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it. It makes me think about that sarcastic thing that might be a little bit hurtful, that I want to get out. But I decide not to act. It makes me think about the times that I can't help but say it. And look back and think how is that going to influence how she acts around other people, how she calls out people for their weaknesses or their follies, how it's going to affect how she gets along, and how it's going to affect her self-esteem. A little scene like that can just make you reconsider for a moment what you're modeling for your kid. And maybe once in a while, be your better self as a dad. Maybe once in a while, show that restraint. Maybe once in a while, do the right thing. Do the kind thing. Do the generous thing and allow for her to make a mistake, even if it impacts your whole evening. It's okay. You signed up for this. And it also makes me think that I need to take those times, those moments, and just stop saying words. Stop trying to teach with words and wisdom that you think you have, because your child's really interested in that very intimate, immediate connection that comes through your mood, through your face, through your heart rate, through the things that are harder to control and don't care how witty you are. Stop saying words and just be there with your kid. Be her dad. Be what she needs you to be and communicate the way she's communicating, even if it doesn't make sense. That connection, that intimacy is going to echo into her future, more so than any wise crack that you can come up with in the moment. More so than the specifics of a situation that happened in the past that you probably won't remember. It's a be here now sort of thing. And that moment in the film is a real be here now sort of moment that happens in parenthood less often than you might think, or less often than I thought it would. So cherish them. And it's maybe funny that Jaws, of all things, made me say it. And maybe we'll do a longer, more serious piece on portrayals of fatherhood in the films of Steven Spielberg. There's a lot there that's very telling about him, perhaps often by what's missing from the films as much as from what he puts in them. And I'll have to catch up on a few, honestly. I've been spotty on some of his recent films. But because he's known for his blockbusters and his franchises, I know he doesn't get the attention he sometimes should on the more subtle parts of his work. But it's there. For now, I wanted to just share this smaller moment with you. Welcome you to the channel if you're just stumbling in here. And I think up next, we'll do a Dad After Dark piece on a John Cassavetes film. That's a filmmaker whose work is rife with stuff about family and fatherhood and being a husband. Not all of it pretty. Some of it a little bit dated, stuck in amber a bit. But we'll look at it with an open mind, I hope, if we can, because it's really unique, brave filmmaking. And I look forward to that conversation with you. So please come back, hit the like, subscribe if you want. And until next time, I'm Tom, and we'll see you soon. I was going to use this in the skit, but couldn't quite work it in. You know, if my daughter knew how often I essentially am playing with her toys while she's at school to make these videos, I think she'd be quite upset. I mean, she might understand. She'd be quite upset.